It's so nice to de-stress. Should we really be off work this early? There is still a lot left to do.
Gente, eu estou perplexo. Gente, eu tô perplexo. Muito boa noite aí pra vocês. Eu estava ajeitando tudo aqui da minha vida, e o OBS crashou. Boa noite, Lívia. A mais rápida do mundo, apareceu aqui mais rápido que o Xiao. Cara, eu comecei a live e o OBS crashou, velho. O que aconteceu aqui? Cara, que é isso? Ele crashou, tipo, teve uns segundos que a live deixou de existir e voltou. Eu acho que nem chegou a dar ruim direito. Eu sei que eu tava, tipo, abrindo tudo aqui e de repente veio uma mensagem. OBS crashou. Rapaz, que é isso, cara? Estão pedindo socorro aqui. Estamos aqui no topo de Teyvat. Eu acho que aqui deve ser o maior lugar de Teyvat, hein? Grande chance de ser. Estamos aqui no topo... Ai, meu Deus. Estamos aqui no topo do Dragon Spine aqui. Talvez aqui pra cima seja mais alto, porque tem essa subidona aqui, essa elevação. E aí, tipo, tem o edifício aqui de Fontaine, a Upper Class. Então, tipo, pra lá. Tem umas coisas ali. Aquele ali, na verdade, aquela é a torre, não é a Upper Class ainda. Tem aquela montanha também, então não sabemos. Porém, estamos num lugar aqui muito do alto e hoje, como eu mostrei, tá aí no título, e ainda bem que deu uma crashada, porque eu tinha começado a live com o título errado. Não sei se vai mandar certo agora, vamos conferir aqui se o título vai acertar ou nem. Pra mim não acertou não, a recomendação vai errada, eu tinha botado o título errado, eu esqueci de mudar o título. Mas enfim, vamos fazer a Story Quest da Furina. E dessa vez eu me resguardei muito para esse momento, porque eu vou fazer a Story Quest e vou terminá-la para na 4.3 eu não ser travado por ela. Então vamos pegar aqui. Que lindo! Nossa, que coisa bonitinha. Então, a notificação vem com outro nome. Era essa a questão que eu estava falando. Tá. Então, vou dar um grande recap aqui do que a gente deve fazer nessa missão. A Furina, para quem não se lembra, era a Hydro Archon, ela era a fonte de... eu ia falar sumério, de Fontaine, e a gente descobriu que, na verdade, ela era uma fraude. A Fossilors, que era a real Arconte, botou a Furina para se passar por ela. A Furina passou 500 anos de dor e sofrimento e tendo que guardar um segredão. No final deu tudo bom e agora ela vai viver a vida dela e eu imagino que é isso que a gente vai ver. A gente vai começar a ver como que... se aproximar mais dela, ver como é que ela fica. E ela muito provavelmente vai ganhar a visão dela aqui, que até onde eu sei, ela não tinha visão. O que é uma burrice. A Fossilor ter botado ela para se passar por Arconte não dá uma visão para ela, velho. Dava visão de Hydro que pronto, acabou, não tinha problema. Ela falava, aqui ó, aguinha, a Katara. E não dava problema. Mas enfim, vamos fingir que a gente não viu isso e vamos prosseguir. Eu gostaria de deixar aqui dito que eu adorei o que eles fizeram com a Furina. Eu acho que ficou sensacional o arco que traçaram para ela na missão, a redenção dela como um personagem absurdamente ridículo, para um personagem que a gente sentia no coração. E eu falo isso porque, vendo a história dela de novo, quando eu editei as minhas 2 lives, que tem vídeo no canal novo, vídeo de 4 horas do recap das outras lives, então quem quiser ver tudo batidão pode sair vendo, alô Victoriana. E mano, deu vontade de chorar vendo o negócio. A gente pesca muita coisa que antes a gente não sabia e o negócio é pesado. Mas enfim, vamos atrás da Furina, vamos falar com ela, vamos ver qual foi do rolê. Que eu quero saber o que vai acontecer, porque a princípio, quando na finale da Masquerade of the Guilty, a Furina resolveu meter o pé porque agora ela estava livre. Ela, tipo, conseguiu suceder na missão dela. E é isso. Inclusive teremos, provavelmente, já dei muito spoiler, mas teremos spoilers do lado 5 aqui, então se alguém tiver terminado, tome muito cuidado, veja sob sua própria conta e risco. Hoje estou de bom humor, Lívia. Hoje eu não estava com vontade de ir à aula e cancelaram, então eu tô tranquilíssimo, mais tranquilo impossível. Vamos começar, peraí, vamos começar.
Specifically one with a huge more attack, perhaps? Paimon's just being enthusiastic. We're old friends now, she gets it.
It's always a pleasure to see our two most avid adventurers again.
Que
Looking for the
Lívia.
next challenge, I see. Actually, we do in fact have a rather urgent
Eu vou
commission
botar
that's still
sextou no título da
Having
live.
read the details, however, I don't believe you'd consider it to be lucrative.
Don't worry about that. We were just kidding.
Pronto.
So what's the
Hashtag
situation?
sextou.
To put it simply, the requester is looking for a temporary replacement actress for their musical. The original cast member ran into some issues and is currently unable to perform the role. But the troupe has also been experiencing some financial difficulties, so unfortunately they cannot afford to pay the replacement actress.
That does sound like a tricky situation.
Você
So
de bom
basically
humor.
they're
Pera,
looking
eu
for
tô
a
cansado.
volunteer?
Eu tô cansado e preso no engarrafamento, então dê um pouco de bom humor, por favor. Putz. Taylor Swift, eu nunca te odiei tanto. Pois é, cara. O show começou uns 40 minutos já. Só que é o show da Sabrina. E vou parafrasear nossa amiga victoriana. Sabrina Carpenter é uma bandida que tem medo de fazer show flopado no Brasil, que ela quer encher o engenhão. E óbvio que ela não vai encher o engenhão. Temos que buscar o que a gente consegue fazer. Então minha diss aqui, hein. Mas... pois é. Engarrafamento é soda. Por favor, não bota minha live em HD, não quero gastar todos os seus dados móveis.
But none of them were willing to take the job. There are only a few days left until the performance. If they can't find someone in time, they'll probably have to postpone the show. And delays tend to create all sorts of new problems.
Got it. Oh, this one's a doozy. What do you think, Traveler? Any ideas?
720 é bom, hein?
The commission, neither of us have any experience starring a musical.
Não, na verdade... Eu tava falando com você, mas eu tava prestando atenção no que tá acontecendo aqui. A gente foi procurar uma commission no Adventurers Guild e não, absurdamente não. Aparentemente querem uma ajuda porque querem fazer um musical e estão sem uma das atrizes. Tipo, o que isso tem a ver com a gente, cara? Tipo, tudo bem, se eu fosse a Lumine, beleza, eu sou o Wither.
If you're interested in helping, why not start by having a chat with the requester? He's right over there.
Tipo, e eu com isso? Ih, eu parei aqui.
Maybe you can't fill the role yourselves, but you might be able to help him figure out another solution. Maybe there's something he hasn't thought of.
Oh, it's that guy, huh? No wonder, he looks like he just ate a sour lemon. Paimon approves, let's go!
Inclusive, para você...
Are you the guy looking for a new actress?
Talvez lembra da última...
I know you two. Are you really willing to act in my musical?
Não vou ser ator de nada de musical não, mano. Sai fora. Por incrível que pareça, eu não gosto de musical. Engraçado. Vou falar pra você, Lívia. Na última live eu falei pra você que eu tinha aumentado a qualidade da live. E, cara, editando o vídeo é claríssimo de perceber isso. Tinha uma hora que eu tava falando um negócio que, como? Queria dar um zoomzinho aqui, um olhar 43 na minha cara. E não dá não, só tem pixel. Meu Deus do céu, R$60.
Wow,
Que
sounds
isso?
like we're pretty famous in Fontaine already.
Cara,
To answer your question,
tinham marcado uma festa pra amanhã comigo, né? Tipo, pra mim e pra rapaziada. E era amanhã, do lado, algumas ruas, né? Do Engenhão. Aí eu olhei e falei, mano, estão de brinks. Estão de brinks. Não
I
dá.
see.
Deixa eu fechar
It's okay.
a janela.
I knew
Não
that
vou
asking
fechar a
for a
janela não, que
volunteer was a long shot.
eu vou morrer de calor.
If we can't find someone to step in, we'll have no choice but to cancel the show. It would be such a shame. That's the thing. We're not some high-profile theater troupe, just a group of amateur enthusiasts. All our sets and props are very crude.
A galera
We're
pirou,
grateful enough just
certeza.
to get an audience, never mind
E
ticket
sabe qual é o
fees.
melhor?
If we had a
Não,
way to
depois
make
eu
this
conto. Me lembra de
profitable,
contar isso no
things
Zap
might have
Zap, que eu
turned
não vou
out
ficar
differently.
dando
But
informação,
now,
não.
it looks inevitable that we'll disband.
Disband? You're splitting up the troupe?
Oh, I guess the lady at the Adventurers Guild didn't tell you? Yeah. This is supposed to be our final show together as a troupe.
E lá vai ser o
One
último
last
show da
And after
rapaziada.
that, we go our separate ways. So we were really hoping to end on a high note. Nobody wants things to just fizzle out. Not after all the time and effort we've invested into it. Yeah, the leading lady, in fact. She's been dealing with a chronic illness ever since childhood, and unfortunately, it flared up again recently. It really drains all her energy, so she's in no state to perform. The show just won't be the same without her. But for everyone else's sake, I still hope we can find a way to hold the performance on schedule.
Got it. We have a clearer picture now. Let's see if we can come up with any ideas. What if we sponsored the show? Traveler, how much more are you carrying?
Sacanagem, pai, mano. Quer que a gente... Porra. Mano. Não é possível. Aí, ó. Hate Rodrigo contra Paimon tá voltando, hein?
Please, there's no need to go that far.
Muito obrigado,
I wouldn't
Lowick.
feel right asking such a huge favor. And I can't promise that we'd ever be able to pay you back.
Good point. If the actress just goes through the motions for the Mora, that's not exactly rescuing the show. We should find someone who will put on the best performance.
Venha para o nosso lado. Ó, vou te falar que na última live...
What about... you know who?
Então, eu vou falar pra você. Na última live de Genshin, eu declarei o fim ao ódio contra o Rachel Rodrigo da Paimon, porque ela deu uma ideia muito boa. E hoje estou declarando a volta do Rachel Rodrigo contra a Paimon. Inclusive, uma coisa que eu tô na dúvida nisso aqui. Tá, tipo, tudo bem, a gente ia chamar a Furina pra fazer o show. Mas como a gente vai fazer isso? A gente não é exatamente amigo da Furina, né? Não entendi.
That's how you know we're the best of partners. Anyway, she should have all the free time in the world right now. She's really good at performing, and she was once super popular with the crowd. Performing in a musical should be a piece of cake for her.
Mas a reputação dela não tá meio cagada
Who
não,
are you thinking
rapaziada?
of? Sounds like someone famous.
Eita, deu uma piscada aqui. Furina.
Her. You're... That was a joke, right?
Nope.
Ai, meu
Paimon
Deus, eu
doesn't
não tô conseguindo
actually know
acertar
if
minha
she's
câmera,
performed on
pronto.
stage before, but Paimon's pretty confident that she'd be really good at it.
Eu acho que ele não vai gostar muito da ideia, não.
She has actually performed in a number of big-name shows before. They were one of the reasons she was so popular. But even if she's no longer the Hydro Archon, it's not like she's suddenly a commoner. She's still an idol to many people in Fontaine, including myself. I just think Lady Furina might feel a bit out of place in an amateur troupe like ours. Well, yes, but... Fair enough. I mean, if she was actually willing to, then of course I'd be honored to have Lady Furina star in our show. I'm sure the rest of the troupe would be delighted too.
Pera aí,
I'm
a
sure
reputação
everyone
da
in our
Furina
troupe
não
has
foi
probably
manchada,
dreamt
tá
of
ligado?
performing on stage with her one day. Of course, it all depends on whether she's interested. She might consider this opportunity beneath her.
Tipo, Papo Retão,
Stressing about that.
qual foi o aftermath daquele... Nossa, do julgamento que a gente fez contra ela, cara? Tipo,
For her to be all high and
como
mighty
assim?
anymore.
Thank you for your help. I guess I'll just stay here and wait for the good news. Good luck.
Wait, where does Furina actually live nowadays? She used to live in luxury at the Palais Mermonia, but she's, moved out, right?
As it happens, I have her current address here. I can provide it to you.
Que isso, Caterine? Rapaz,
When did you get here?
curioso vindo de um jogo que
I
qualquer
came
coisa
over
que
when things
acontece na
were starting to
história
sound
acaba
more
com a reputação do
promising.
personagem.
I thought I should be at the ready in case my assistance is needed.
Cara, falar
It is my
em...
duty to support commissioners in any way I can.
Falar
Thank you,
em
ma'am. Thank you so
reputação de
much.
personagem, quero uma opinião aí da grande liga que está nos assistindo. Tipo, você também, eu não sei se você continua jogando bastante Genshin, pelo menos a história você acaba acompanhando aqui nas lives, mas você também tá nesse momento meio, cara, foda-se minha irmã, quero mais saber não, quero só saber de Tevet mesmo, porque tipo, o jogo ele tenta voltar frequentemente pro pretexto de o Wither ou a Lumine tá procurando o irmão ou a irmã, mas tipo, eu já não ligo nem mais um pouco se eu vou achar a Lumine, eu tô tipo, mano, deixa ela lá, cara, porra, eu não quero saber de você, dane-se, não quero saber dela também. Enfim, vamos ver cadê a Furina.
Did Catherine really give us the right address? She lives here? Not that there's anything wrong with this place. It's just, a bit of a step down from the Palais Mermonia.
Ah, você jura, pai, mano?
You know, it's common courtesy to make sure the homeowner isn't in earshot when you're denigrating their abode.
Eita! Eita!
Okay, when did Poppy Got a Thin Hair become all the rage? First Catherine and now you?
Caraca, mas a Paimon realmente, Lívia, vem pra cá dar uma coça nela. Realmente, isso daí foi... Acho que até o próprio jogo já cagou nesse fato. Então, um pouco sim, porque eles já esqueceram do Dance, já esqueceram de tudo. Tipo, a gente oficialmente não liga mais. Não quero mais encontrar minha irmã, muito obrigado. Ainda bem que eu não tenho irmã, senão essa frase falando de contexto seria zoado. Tá sumido ou sumida faz tanto tempo que eu já caguei, faz mais tempo ainda.
I was just out on a shopping trip. I ran out of macaroni, so I went to grab a few more bags. I used to have a much wider range of choices when it came to food. But now I'm finding that simple, traditional home cooking can be quite delicious too.
Nossa, mas que baixo astral que tá isso aqui. Ainda bem que eu tô escutando música, porque, porra...
Not at all. As long as you have different kinds of sauces in, you can have macaroni and tomato sauce one week, macaroni and bolognese the next.
Oh, sounds like you're really struggling to cope.
Mano, por que a gente tá falando isso, mano? A gente tá denegrindo a mulher na cara dela?
How rude! Questioning my cooking skills. The audacity! It's not like I have a very eventful life these days. Actually, I barely leave the house. So I don't see how it's unusual that my meals are a little simpler now too. Besides, I'm sure I could master dishes like la lettre faucilor or blubber profiteroles in no time, if I felt so inclined.
Ah, there it is. You don't know how to cook.
Not yet, maybe, but... Anyway, what are you
Pô,
even doing here?
dois arcontes que não
I do
sabem
hope you
cozinhar é
didn't come
sacanagem,
here
jogo.
just to ogle at my fall from grace. Let me first be clear that I'm not taking guests at this time. So if you're just here to clown around, then please be on your way. Shoot!
Sorry, we're sorry. Please don't be mad.
Não, Paimon was just showing concern for your well-being, uma ova. O que ela tava fazendo aqui era uma série de ofensa gratuita contra a mulher que virou homeless. Ela deu um downgrade absurdo e a Paimon estava aqui fazendo graça. Pera aí. Acho que o próprio jogo já cagou nesse fato. Não, isso aí eu já li. E eu que não posso falar isso porque eu tenho irmão.
Yeah, exactly.
Eu tenho irmão também, se eu jogasse de Lumine ia ser
Trying to make fun
engraçado.
of- Hang on a sec. You weren't exactly holding back either.
That's not important.
My help? Well, maybe you're forgetting that I'm no longer the mighty Hydro Archon. I don't even have a vision, you know.
Exato, exatamente isso que eu tô falando. Como a Faucilor resolve que ela vai ser a Hydro Oracle e não dá uma visão pra ela, gente. Mas que burra, mano. Ela pensou em tudo, menos no básico. O mais difícil ela fez, o mais básico não.
It's just very specific, and you're the one with the power to help.
Oh? Well, if that's the case, then fine. I'll spare you the lecture about your attitude just now. So tell me, what specifically makes this matter so specific? Ah, I see. I knew you couldn't have come all this way just to amuse yourselves at my expense. After all, I was once the brightest star in all of Fontaine, well versed in all the various performing arts. A mere musical is well within my capabilities. But given the present circumstances, I'm afraid I must regretfully decline your casting request.
Ué,
How come? It sounds like this would be a breeze for you.
True, but I have made a decision to retire from the stage.
ela está certíssima. Pra quem teve que ficar... Pô, pera aí. Não queremos a NASA atrás de mim. Acabei de reparar isso. Muito obrigado. Muito obrigado, Facecam. Vou ligar o ventilador aqui. Não quero minhas redondezas aparecendo. Ela está certíssima. Para quem teve que atuar por 182.375 dias, eu também não ia querer nunca mais. Um minutinho que agora eu vou me desligar de
Although I am no
verdade.
longer required to play the role of the Hydro Archon, the time I spent inhabiting that character has left an indelible mark on me. Centuries of pretending to be a different person changes you completely. I'm not the same person I once was. Of course, that can't be undone now. It's too late, and I have no intention of reinventing myself all over again. But at least I can say that I no longer desire to play any new roles.
Exato, realmente. Pega a exposição, filho. Ó, se o pessoal pega isso aqui, o ChatGPT já me encontra. Não pode deixar, não.
Paimon can understand.
Ainda bem que eu faço live à noite.
This is just a one-off part to fill in for someone who's sick. Surely that's okay.
Whether it's a one-off or not, it's a boundary that I've committed to no longer cross. If I make an exception to the rule now, I'm just leaving a back door for myself, which would be the same as not having a boundary in the first place. So I'm not going to perform, and that is that.
Okay, guess there's no convincing you. Well, is there anything else we can do to help out the troupe? Otherwise, they'll just have to disband without any fanfare. Do you know any other actors who might be interested in the role?
Nope.
Short and to the point, okay.
I've never been great at maintaining relationships. Besides, anyone I've ever worked with probably couldn't wait to get rid of me. Since
verdade,
I'm just
realmente.
an ordinary person now, they'll probably just laugh in my face if I go asking them for help. True, but I mean, could you even blame them? I show up out of the blue, begging and groveling for their help with a show they won't even get paid for? Oh, no way. I'm dying from embarrassment just thinking about it.
Que isso, Furina?
Nope, not happening.
Well, is there anything else we can do?
Não, honestamente, assim, então
Really
tá
means a lot to
rolando
the guy we're working
uma
for.
falta de desempenho aqui. A gente precisa chegar pro pessoal e sair falando. É só implorando pela ajuda. Você fala, olha, tem uma galera que realmente não consegue, você quer dar uma ajuda pro pessoal, pô, ficar de boa? Assim, porra, tá faltando desempenho. Eu tenho uma figurinha assim, vou pegar daqui a pouco pra mostrar.
Have I not made myself clear? You're barking up the wrong tree. I don't want this job, nor do I know of anyone else who would.
Ela tá meio boladona.
Sorry. I didn't mean for that to sound so harsh. I wish I could help, really. But if I thought I had the answer to this problem, I would have said so by now.
It's all right, Furina. Paimon just wanted to make sure we tried everything. Oh, everyone in the troupe will be so disappointed.
Ai, Paimon, pelo amor de Deus, caraca. É, exato, eles também não estão, tá ligado? Honestamente, eu tô um pouco confuso com essa missão agora. Eu achei que a gente ia conhecer a Furina numa nova vida e não sei o quê. Agora a gente tá tipo, pô, ajuda a gente com o show. E ela falou, quero não. Tipo, quando que ela vai ganhar a visão dela? O que que vai acontecer,
Yeah, I
gente?
guess that's all we can do now. Alright then, we'll see you around, Farina.
Só um suquinho, por favor.
Toodaloo to you too. I'm going home to take a rest now.
Quem fala isso é a Rutal. Rutal, na minha opinião, é a melhor personagem desse jogo em questão de jogabilidade. O personagem mais forte que tem no jogo. E nada mudará a minha opinião. Nem o Risley e o Nubilete, que são um absurdo. Putz, a gente só vai chegar lá e falar, pô,
It's too bad, but we
ela
have
não
to
quis.
respect Farina's decision.
Nossa, mas que absurdo. A gente falou que a gente ia chamar a Furina e aí vai chegar lá e falar, ela não quis. Tadinhos.
Huh? What's going on? Are they arguing?
Ué. Não, fala a verdade, Lívia. Você prefere
That's
que...
besides the point. I'll ask you again. Why did you start looking for a replacement without my consent? When did I tell you I'm going to take a step back?
Eita. Eita. Eita, ainda bem que a Furina não quis. Vai, Lívia, eu quero que você diga a sua opinião. Você prefere, tipo, dar um murro na Paimon ou transformar ela na comida de emergência? Eu tenho minha grandíssima resposta aqui. Quero saber de tu.
You didn't need to say it. We've known each other for how long now? We know the signs. But you never tell us about your illness, even when it's clearly flaring up.
And that gives you the right to make a decision on my behalf?
Eita.
Shortly after you left, the troupe's lead actress came to the Adventurers Guild. She believes that she's healthy enough to perform. Excuse me, but can you both take a moment to discuss something else for now? The adventurer assigned to your commission has returned.
Comida de emergência, pelo menos me dá
I was just
utilidade.
dealing with a little misunderstanding. So, how did your conversation with Furina go?
Sadly, it's a no from her. We tried to persuade her, but she wasn't having it. She doesn't want to play the role for personal reasons.
I see. Well, circumstances have changed a little, so maybe that's not such bad news after all. You see, our leading lady has just informed me that she's well enough to make it to the show after all. Staging the musical with the full original cast was always the dream, of course.
Oh, right! Sounds like everything worked itself out then. Yeah, she'd be livid. We'd get the scolding of a lifetime.
Jeez, is Lady Furina really so harsh with people?
Only joking, calm down. So,
Não,
yes,
esse calor
we
tá um
consider
absurdo,
this
Lívia.
case closed
Não
now,
tá
huh?
tendo condição.
Despite the fact that we failed to complete the commission, we were still racking our brains for ideas on the way back here.
Look, there's no point arguing with you about this anymore. You've made yourself very clear, so I'll stop looking for a replacement. This is the last chance we have, though. If your illness flares up again, there won't be time to find anyone to replace you. So, are you absolutely sure you'll be able to handle it? The whole team is putting everything they have into this final performance. We have to make sure it goes ahead.
Yes, I'm completely confident. I've been taking a new medication from the doctor, and it's working brilliantly. I'll definitely be able to tough it out until the performance day. I share
já
everyone's
sabemos o
desire
que
to
deve
commemorate all
acontecer,
our years
hein?
as a troupe with a proper farewell show.
Já sabemos o
So,
que vai
the
acontecer,
last thing I want is to
aparentemente.
be left out. Every one of us thinks of this troupe as their home, myself included.
You're right. I'm sorry. I let myself get too worried about the show. I should have asked for your permission first.
All's well that ends well. Sounds like the show will go on. Sure.
Eita! Não acredito.
Hey, how did you... I was just passing by because I realized I forgot a couple of items on my
Por que eu tô assim? O que é isso?
No need to drag me. Hello, one and all. I couldn't help but overhear your conversation just now.
Furina? Didn't you say you were gonna take a rest at home? What are you doing here?
Pô, pai, mamãe, tu é
I
burrinha,
was
né?
just ever so slightly concerned about the situation you mentioned. Yes, a teensy bit
A
concerned.
Furina é meio lelé da
that's all.
cabeça. Eu acho que todo
When you
mundo
came to
ficaria
talk
lelé
with
da
me
cabeça
earlier,
se
I jumped
tivesse
right
passado
to
pela situação
explaining
que
my
ela passou.
position and said some strongly worded things. And all before I even had a full grasp of the situation. Anyway, I just feel a bit bad about how it went down. I'm sorry, Paimon.
Oh, it's totally fine. Paimon didn't take any of that personally.
You really have a knack for asking the most uncomfortable questions, don't you? I felt very sheepish, having had a change of heart after flatly refusing you. And then, to make matters worse, you caught me. But in any case,
Me lacrou, mas realmente. Não, não te lacrei não, para.
Yeah. When they said they were gonna ask for your help, I almost had a heart attack. I mean, how could we be worthy of having Lady Furina star in our show?
There's no need to think like that. And no need to keep addressing me as lady. Just Furina is fine. I was wondering, if this troupe is so important to all of you, why does it have to disband? If the difficulties are purely financial, then there must be a solution. You could put the shows on pause while you look for a sponsor, for instance. Everyone seems so devoted to the troupe. I'm sure if you keep chipping away, you'll find a way through.
We all want to believe that, but some things are just beyond our control. Everything's been going downhill ever since we lost our director. She was the heart and soul of our troupe. She kept us going.
Her name was O'Reilly, and she was the founder as well as the artistic director of our troupe. And tragically, she was a victim in the serial disappearances case.
Aí realmente. Aí azedou.
That's actually how I recognized these two. It was all thanks to their efforts that the true culprit was brought to justice. But still, no sentence can bring our director back to us.
She was a loyal fan of your performances, Miss Furina. They were what first inspired her to get into musical theater. She rallied many people around her who were destitute or had lost their sense of purpose in life, and convinced them to join her troupe. She wrote her own scripts, acted on stage,
Pesou o
and
clima,
mentored
papo reto.
each and every one
Ontem
of
tá
us.
pesando o clima todas as
People
missões,
loved
é
our
impressionante.
performances back then. We seemed to be going from strength to strength. Things were really looking up for us.
And then disaster struck.
Yeah. After that, the entire troupe fell into disarray. None of us know anything about script writing, let alone how to handle the business side of things. We've been doing the best we can. But despite our efforts, things are slowly but surely falling apart. It's agonizing. But ultimately, we'd rather end things now on our own terms than stick it out to the bitter end and watch all our dreams turn to dust.
Oh.
What a terrible waste. A gifted artist from humble beginnings who achieved so much and no doubt had much more to give. And then her life was so cruelly taken. I suppose it's fair to say then that this final show, besides being your farewell to the stage, is also your final gift for her?
Yes, exactly. We all miss her terribly.
Well, good thing I followed the traveler here. After hearing this tragic tale, I can no longer stand by and do nothing.
Furina.
I know what you're thinking, but I by no means plan to cross the boundary I've set for myself. Besides, they're no longer looking for a replacement anyway. I can, however, provide some artistic guidance from the vantage point of a highly experienced audience member. But only if you feel this is something that would help, of course.
Oh, most definitely. We'll take any guidance that you can give.
We unfortunately don't have any budget for a consultant, though. Will that be a problem?
I don't need any compensation. All I'd ask in return, if you're willing, is that you tell me some more about the life and work of your late director. Something I've begun to realize since my departure from the Opera Epiclese is that there's a lot you don't see when you observe everything from on high. The law only judges criminal behavior and does not weigh human emotion. The court's verdict can settle the question of criminal liability, but what about all the unresolved emotions of the parties involved? What happens to them? An interesting answer. But if you ask me, I think all emotion shall ultimately return home to the heart and slowly settle with the passage of time. Take, par exemple, how this troupe pines for their late director. Things such as this I have never witnessed before, and so I should like to observe, perchance to understand.
Still a fan of your old dramatic monologues then, huh? You just want to get back in on the action, don't you?
No. This is a completely different situation. Pearls before swine.
The name's not Swine, it's Paimon!
Would you be willing to join me? Come on, take a break from adventuring to listen to a story.
Thank you all so much. Our director was a huge fan of Miss Furina's performances, as of course we all are. All right, follow me. We'll go to our usual practice space. Please excuse the size. It's a little on the smaller side.
Next on the agenda.
Gente, eu tava mutado. What the hell? Nossa, ainda bem que eu vi. Pô, honestamente, eu não sei há quanto tempo... Vamos pausar?
Huh? Lady Furina?
Eu não sei há quanto tempo eu tô mutado. Eu acho que foi há bem pouco tempo. Eu vou aproveitar e repetir o que eu falei agora, já que eu percebi rápido. Eu tô, tipo, realmente com uma vontadezinha de ver essa missão. Acho que vai ser bem interessante no quesito criação de personagem, criação do personagem da Furina. E eu quero também ver como que ela vai ganhar a visão de Hydro dela, porque eu quero saber em que circunstâncias as pessoas ganham a visão de Hydro, porque é um espaço que só tem pra teoria, essa parte das visões. E não é explicado, então eu quero tirar minhas próprias conclusões aqui. E, acabando de falar isso, eu acabei de perceber que... Tipo, falando isso, eu acabei de perceber que... Como ela vai ganhar a visão dela? Porque não existe mais, tá ligado? Conte de Hydro, tá uma parada meio engraçada aí. Mas essa missão vai ser bem conversinha. Às vezes você botar seu fone de ouvido e deitar no sofá, porque eu acho que não vai ter muita ação, não, hein?
What's Lady Furina doing here?
Hello all.
Não, eu tinha falado. Mó sorte que eu fui ver uma parada aqui no segundo monitor e vi que tava mutado. É impressionante que eu assisto, quer dizer, que eu boto minha própria live de fundo e não serve de nada.
Artistic consultant. These two over here are the ones that made it possible. They kindly reached out to Miss Furina on our behalf. I'm sure they need no introduction. You bet! That was the trial of the century!
You helped bring our director's murderer to justice. We can't thank you enough.
Oh, please don't mention it. We're just here to join in on the fun.
So, you were saying, the Little Oceanid?
Yeah, that's the name of our final show. It's an unfinished script
Da
left
hora.
behind by our director.
The little
One of our
Cyanid.
greatest regrets is that she never got to complete it. So, if we can bring it to the stage and make it a successful show, we can all take some solace in that.
Wait, but if it's not finished, then...
Yeah, we've been battling issues on every front trying to realize this dream. Anyway, let me give you a quick summary of what the story's all about. The protagonist of the story is a young Oceanid who transforms herself into human form, despite the protests of her family. She longed to live just like any other human, and sure enough, she found friendship and even love. Everything seemed perfect. But one day, her true identity was exposed, and her world came crashing down around her.
Credo.
So far, so good. A classic tale. What happened after that?
That's one of the issues we've been trying to deal with. Unfortunately, this was as far as the director got with her script.
Putz.
We need a proper ending so we can bring this musical to the stage. But people have different opinions on which direction to take it in.
We still haven't decided between a happy ending or a true-to-life tragedy.
Porra, pelo amor de Deus. Ó,
By
honestamente.
true to life, you mean the director's sudden disappearance?
Então, eu acho que não é uma boa ideia, considerando que acabou de quase ter um desastre em Fontaine. A gente tiver como levantar os espíritos da rapaziada, né, família?
Yeah, like they say, truth is stranger than fiction. But then there's the question of whether we really want to use the stage to pass our raw pain onto the audience.
Exactly. A lot of the time, people come to watch a show just hoping for some light entertainment. We have to consider their emotional stake in this, not just our own. And one last thing. We're still waiting on confirmation from two of our main actors. The first is Paulo, who plays the protagonist's lover. He's locked himself away to focus on writing an ending for the script. But the deadline's passed, and we still haven't heard from him.
Oxi.
The other is Villemont, who plays the main antagonist. He took the director's death pretty hard. Hasn't set foot in the city since. He did write to us, promising that he'll be there for the final performance, but we haven't seen or heard from him since. So we're not really sure what to make of that.
Huh. Although, now that we have Miss Furina helping us, maybe we should take the opportunity to get everyone back together.
What opportunity? What do you mean?
Maybe you're unaware, but your name has always been like a rallying cry for us.
Our director was constantly singing your praises. All of us look up to you as a role model.
Oh, stop. You're making me all flustered. Although, not in a bad way. I suspect the reason they're dragging their feet is that they have their doubts about whether the show will really go ahead, considering all the issues you've been facing. But one by one, all the obstacles are being removed. Now is the time to rally the troops.
Makes sense. Okay, priority number 1, let's check in with Paulo and see where he's at with the ending. He went back to Poisson a few days ago. Said that staying in a friend's home might help him to relax and escape the feeling of isolation.
I thought the last thing his friend would want right now would be to take visitors, given that Poisson was flooded not too long ago. But I guess it's the opposite. A friend in need and all that.
Yeah, maybe he could use some company.
Poisson.
Putz. É, pesou o clima, rapaziada. Pesou o clima.
Nothing. I suppose my presence will be indispensable if we are to restore his faith in the show. So,
Eu tenho que fazer isso também, eu não peguei uma caneca. Gente, to Poisson, enquanto a gente vai pra Poisson, eu vou fazer... Não, eu vou precisar fazer só uma coisa, a outra eu já fiz. Mano, por favor, carrega. Por favor, vamos tá carregando aí? Salvou o negócio. Ah, não, não salvou, velho. Ai, papai. Sabe uma coisa engraçada? O nome dessa missão... Deixa eu ver se aparece aqui bonitinho. O nome dessa missão é Animula Choragi. E tipo, eu uso o nome Animula como uma junção de animal com mula, quando eu quero xingar muito alguém que tá fazendo uma besteira. Não vamos comentar da minha falta de beber água, eu já bebi muita água hoje, só não tô com ela aqui agora. Então, para aproveitar esta deixa, eu vou lá pegar minha garrafa d'água e já vou tacar aqui o Ultimate. Eu tenho um negócio de entrada? Tenho. Se liga em que vai entrar aqui. Saindo da live para almoçar. Mas eu não vou almoçar, eu vou beber água. Enfim, já volto, tropa. Sabe uma coisa que eu acho muito impressionante? O fato de que eu sempre tenho que ajeitar minha webcam. Ela... Cara, eu faço, sei lá, mais de uma live por semana, às vezes, mas eu não, tá ligado? Eu não vejo... Eu não consigo nunca acertar um negócio, é impressionante. Minha postura deve ser tão ruim que cada dia eu tô sentado de uma maneira diferente. Calma aí. Vambora. Onde a gente tem que ir? Inclusive, nave tá para sair no jogo. Eu vou dar pull pra nave. A gente já tá aqui com um inteiro já, um tempo aqui para fazer. Vou lançar quando a nave sair. Talvez eu tente pegar a arma dela. Talvez não. Não sei. Como é que desce pra ele do jeito normal? Só pra eu ficar sabendo. Ah, tem uma escada ali atrás, entendi. Cadê o... Ah, aqui.
If I remember correctly,
Nossa, beber água é uma
this is where
diferença
he's
nesse
staying.
calor.
Who is it?
It's me. Is the script ready?
You came all the way here for that?
All right. Forget that for now. Just come on out. We've got some great news.
Nice try. Look, just give me some time, okay? I'm just wrapping up this last part of the script. I'll be out once I'm done.
Okay then. Looking forward to your masterpiece.
Que história é essa, mano? Manda ele sair agora. Esqueceu que a Furina tá atrás de você?
He's missed the deadline.
The ending is one of the most important parts of the show.
Dá uma
Even once it's
satisfação,
done,
sim.
it isn't final until we've all had the chance to read through and make sure we agree on it.
Ainda bem que Victoriana
Someone told
não...
me they'd just seen you in Poisson. I assumed it was a case
Návia!
of mistaken identity, but sure enough, here you are.
A Návia não
And
morre tão
Furina,
cedo, hein?
too.
Návia não morre tão cedo. Acabei de falar nela. Rapaz, pode se preocupar que ela vai cair na água que quiser que ela não vai morrer.
I was wondering if we might run into her.
So, you're here for Palo? Looks like you could be a while, so feel free to take a stroll around town in the meantime. I've made all the arrangements already.
Oxe.
Oh, it's okay. We can just wait here.
Thank you for being so considerate, Miss Navia. That sounds wonderful. We'll take that stroll.
Oxi.
Get over here, you! How oblivious are you?
Eita pega.
How are things in Poisson now? Any better?
Things are on the mend, but it's a slow process. Some people may never recover from the trauma they experienced.
É tão estranho ver a Furina...
Sorry to hear that. I wish there was something I could do.
É tão estranho ver a Furina, tipo, tão, tá ligado? Sei lá. Eu não sei definir, tão assim...
Must our conversations take such a
Boladona,
depressing turn every time we
triste.
meet? We all have painful memories. but we don't have to let them cloud everything we do. And if you're trying to make a new start, perhaps it's best if you don't bring up the past all the time.
Thank you for your words of comfort. You make a very good point. But for now, at least, I think I should stay with the way I'm feeling for a while longer.
It's okay. These things take time. Moving on from a painful experience is easier said than done. Which brings me to why I'm here. I thought you should probably know that not everyone here is ready to forgive and forget after the Hydro Archon's inaction in the face of catastrophe.
Eita,
To
pega.
avoid upsetting the peace, I told the townspeople that everyone here is a member of the theater troupe, and that you are just an actress playing the role of Furina. It's not a perfect solution, but hopefully it means you won't have to lie low while you're here.
That's so thoughtful of you, Navia.
Well, what do you expect? I am the courageous and considerate president of Spina di Rosula, after all, like my father before me. Anyway, that was all. Look after her now.
Ok. Cheguei, lacrei e saí. Pronto.
Off we go then. Let's take a look up there. I don't have any friends that I can be frank and honest with, so maybe she's right. You're the closest thing to friends that I have.
Eu acho impressionante. Se eu fosse do mal. Se o Wither entrasse agora tipo, virasse um Harbinger dos Fatui, ele passava a perna em todo mundo, que o pessoal... Mano, tipo, pera aí. Não tenho... Eu tenho que fazer uma piada, pera aí, já sei o que eu vou fazer, calma. Estou carregando uma piada muito boa. Se o Wither chegasse e virasse dos Fatui, ele ia passar a perna em todo mundo, porque, ó, esse é o coração dos personagens de Genshin Impact. Eles olham pro Wither e falam assim, aqui, ó. Aqui, ó. Aqui pra você. Aqui, ó. Abertíssimo. Mano, do nada. A gente acabou com a vida da Furina e ela chega e fala, eu acho que vocês são a coisa mais próxima de amigos que eu tenho. Mano...
There is still a lot left to do.
Sei lá, isso é muito bizarro, honestamente.
We're way behind schedule.
Ai. Inclusive, quem quiser descer o soco na Furina, eu vou passar o facão, hein? Eu vou passar o facão. Você mesmo que tá aí de olho, você vai se ver comigo, hein, se tu quiser ir atrás dela.
Perfectly honest, I didn't know if I was ready to meet her. It's always easiest to just run away from your problems. But that never fixes anything. You can't get around the obstacles without facing them.
So that's why you were nervous when they brought up Poisson.
E porque todo mundo morreu também, né?
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared of coming back here. Still, I felt
Gostou dessa, hein? De vez em quando eu gosto do meu senso de humor.
As I
Vou
was
passar,
saying before,
a Tramontina tá afiadíssima, vou passar, viu?
things that I never could in the past. I'd be overjoyed if the people here could find it in their hearts to forgive me. But they're more likely to unleash a tirade of vitriol against me. Which, of course, I completely understand and accept. Yeah, I can tell people are watching me.
Pô, na moral, se começarem a como ir pra cima da nave, eu vou passar a faca, viu? Vou realmente ir atrás.
Archon as extremely disrespectful. I used to be terrified of the gaze of other people, especially when they had suspicion or resentment in their eyes. I guess I wasn't quite ready for this after all.
I'm not surprised you're making yourself go through all of this.
Boa. Diz minha mãe que geminianos fazem piadas que só geminianos entendem.
I can't let myself see only the things I want to see.
Eu esqueci que eu tenho que fechar meu mundo, né?
Any different from before.
Look, there seems to be a crowd gathering over there.
Probably time we made a move. How about we check out Spina di Rosula's ship? We should have a view of the whole of Poisson from there.
Não, assim, eu acho muito engraçado isso. E os... Ó o bonito. Ó o bonito. O melhor de todos. Eu acho engraçado que as coisas foram resolvidas. Tudo. Tipo, né, conseguiram acertar tudo. E ninguém fez questão de contar que, na verdade, a Furina não era só uma fraude. Ela tava lá pra tudo dar certo e tudo deu certo por causa dela. Eu acho que faltou um pouquinho. Eu tenho que pegar a figurinha do Tá Faltando Desempenho. Eu vou baixar assim que a gente começar aqui o coisa. Mas aí foi refutada porque aqui veio a canceria. Ah, é? Ah, não, você... eu esqueci que é dia 21, né? Ah, então deixa pra lá. Deixa pra lá. Eu falei tudo errado, mano. Deixa pra lá.
I'm sorry. You probably just wanted a relaxing stroll. And here I am dumping all this heavy stuff on you.
We don't mind. It's actually refreshing to see a different side of you.
Great. Well, I appreciate your company, so please don't disappear just yet. I don't know whether you can tell, but the years of suffering and loneliness aren't the only reason I have a hard time facing up to who I used to be.
Eu sabia que você ia falar isso. Eu não errei o dia. Dia 21 troca o signo. Não errei o dia. Depois eu vou pegar o teu perguntar, porque toda hora eu esqueço. Ah, relaxa. Daqui a pouco eu falo. Peraí, deixa eu... Não, volta aí.
As I stand here by the ship, I can't get the images of the rising water out of my mind. One after another, people were taken by the water. All those treasured lives and memories washed out of existence in an instant. They thought their god would protect them. They had absolute faith that when disaster struck, a divine power would save them from harm. And all the while, I played my part to perfection to convince them that was true. But then the floodwaters finally came, and the Hydro Archon did nothing.
You shouldn't look at it like that. You're only doing your duty.
Exato. Tá ligado? Porra.
I've had to go through so many moments like that for the sake of protecting the truth. As time went on, it got harder.
Eu fui lacrado de
and
novo, tá
harder to
piado
bear.
hoje. Que isso,
And
fala
I
assim não,
became
cara.
more lonely and isolated. Eventually, I realized I had nothing left except the truth. I became terrified of completely failing in my task, and was haunted by the thought of being left all alone, weeping on my throne. Fortunately, we were able to avoid the worst-case scenario thanks to the help of heroic individuals such as yourselves. Everyone rose to their responsibilities, and I finally regained my freedom. But on some level, freedom also means no longer being needed.
Puts.
I have no further use to people.
Puts.
Paimon would have never imagined you'd see it that way.
A reward? I guess so. Back then, I didn't even dare to dream about having someone to confide in. I was scared of someone recognizing me for who I truly was, and exposing a secret I swore to protect. Believe in the Furina you see on stage. She is the one you can trust. I had to keep all my feelings,
Aqui, ó,
all my
consegui.
curiosity about life to myself.
Consegui. Aqui.
No one could be
Sempre
allowed to know.
que fizerem alguma
That's
coisa
what I really meant
estranha,
when I said
vou
I'm no
lançar
good
o-
at maintaining
Pera aí.
relationships.
cadê?
So that's where you were coming from.
Eu vou lançar
Paimon totally
o
thought you were just a bit of a
grandíssimo-
diva at heart.
Could you
Oh, já que-
please get
okay.
off my case? I don't know what's gotten into you today. I'm making an effort here. you could at least try to do the
Tá
same.
faltando desempenho. Vou lançar aqui, ó. Pum, pum. Sumiu. Rapidíssimo. Apareceu e sumiu.
I do. I once had nothing but the truth, and now I'm finally free to live my own life again. And even though I have no idea where I'm going right now, at least the choice is in my hands. All right, it's about time to head back.
Então, pode
Although
falar,
I should
essa
have
foi
finished the ending by
sensacional.
now.
Sure. Okay, let's head back and check it out.
Ah, mano, sabe qual é o pior? Eu tava fazendo todo o arrangement pra figurinha não aparecer. Mas ela apareceu, eu tinha que ter feito na ordem contrária. Eu ia, tipo, mostrar só depois, eu mostrei bem sem querer. Aí eu aproveitei e já falei direto.
Didn't you say you needed to watch what you eat? You're supposed to be cutting down on fried foods, not wolfing down copious quantities of fish and chips, you know?
Come on. It's not every day we get to dine at Spina di Rosula's expense. Can you believe how generous she is? I'm not about to pass on free food.
Eita.
Anyway, my character doesn't need to be slim and good-looking. That's your job.
Are you kidding me right now? It's not your character's health I'm worried about, it's yours. I've spent my whole life battling the effects of ill health, and it kills me to watch you willingly ruin yours by filling yourself up with junk all the time.
Opa, tão falando isso
Oh,
pra
no.
mim, hein?
Looks like they're
Tão me
arguing
zoando.
again.
Tão mandando essa pra mim, tão lendo meu perfil da internet.
We're back. Could you maybe put your differences aside for a moment?
Ah, you're back. We've been enjoying Spina di Rosula's VIP treatment in your stead.
Não, é
Polo's
impressionante
nearly
que a
done.
nave tá...
We shouldn't have to wait too much longer.
Great. So you were discussing your characters, right? We heard she's playing the Oceanid who turns into a human girl. What about you?
Me? I'm an Oceanid too.
He was originally supposed to take the form of a crane, but he outgrew that role. Well, the costume at least. So now he's playing the boar instead.
Porra!
Sorry.
A qual é? A
Boar's
Pai me
not a
matou
bad
agora.
character, actually. He's the
Aí,
one who
essa foi uma
raises the
interação
little
boa da
Oceanid,
Paimon.
Yes?
That's right. He has some pretty memorable lines too, like when he imparts some solemn words of wisdom to the little Oceanid. If you become human, you can reveal your secret to no one. You will face suffering and loneliness. Is this truly what you want?
Wait, that sounds kind of familiar.
It's the most important line in the whole script. I think it's a symbolic statement about our director's life and legacy. She kept quiet about all the trials and tribulations she faced in running our troupe, allowing us to devote ourselves fully to performing. It was only after she was gone that we realized how tough her job really was.
Ah, a Paimon do nada,
You
mano,
mentioned earlier
sacaneou.
that the troop is like your home.
Yeah. I was born with an incurable illness, and once my family found out it couldn't be treated, they decided they didn't want me anymore.
Eita porra.
I spent some years taking whatever work I could find and trying to manage my illness with various medicines. But whenever I had a bad flare-up, I'd be lying in an alleyway for days at a time. It was like that until the director found me one day. She told me I had a great voice and asked if I was interested in studying singing from her. I said yes. She took me under her wing, taught me to both sing and act, helped me find Mora for my meds, took care of me when my condition decided to flare up. I know it was all a huge burden on her.
She sounds like a really incredible person.
She really was. She gave everything she had to her troupe and the people in it. All of us were so proud to call her our director. I was a lost child too when she found me. As the child of a murderer, my parents weren't around when I was little, so I got sent to an orphanage. The other kids were always picking fights with me. They'd say things like, "Come on, you must be pretty tough if you're the son of a murderer." It was just to taunt me, though. I was an easy target, and they knew it. One day, I got beaten up so bad that I just couldn't take it anymore, so I ran away. I lost all faith in humanity by that point. Thought the whole world was out to get me.
Let me guess. Fortunately, the next person you ran into was the director.
Yeah. For the first time in my life, I was somewhere I felt safe. And I promised myself I'd stay here until the day the group parted ways.
The day you hoped would never come. How times change.
Oh, you're finally done? Get your butt over here. There's someone I need to introduce you to. This is our new artistic consultant, Miss Furina.
Furina? The Furina? Oh my god, how did you manage to wrangle that?
Esse é o My God
Please.
me pegou.
The honor is all mine. I was profoundly moved to hear about your troupe and your wonderful director. I just wanted to do something to help.
Same here.
Even so, this is just... Oh, wow. I'm sorry. I'll try to calm down. Now, where was I? Ah, yes, the script, of course. Let me give you a rundown of how the story unfolds in my version of the script. I'm sure you're already familiar with the beginning of the story. A little Oceanid decides she wants to become a human against the wishes of her family. She finds love and friendship in the bustling city. But then, disaster strikes. The people start to notice that all the fresh water in the surrounding area is slowly disappearing. The soil is becoming arid, plants and flowers are withering, and the people begin to panic. The little Oceanid, Cleo, and her lover decide to do something about it and investigate the truth of the matter together. In the end, they discover that all the waste and pollution created by humans over the years has caused the fresh water to flee the land, as if driven by a consciousness of its own.
Consciousness? You mean the water is sentient?
Water as a conscious entity. There's actually quite a few stories that explore this theme.
Since the little Oceanid is a water spirit, she immediately understands how the water is feeling. She then tells her lover about her true identity, as well as the truth behind the crisis. Her lover accepts her for who she is, and works with her to find a way to bring the water back. However, unbeknownst to them, there were some people eavesdropping when she revealed her secret. The little Oceanid is accused of being directly responsible for driving the water away, and faces the greatest dilemma of her life.
And then?
In the end, she makes the brave decision to sacrifice herself to save her lover, and the rest of humanity.
Pô, gostei não, hein?
But didn't they all treat Cleo like a villain? Why would she want to save them after that?
Pô, gostei não.
Well, she mainly wanted to save her lover, plus everyone who'd stood up for her.
Through her love for her human partner, she was able to find an even greater love, one that extended to all of humanity. Surely the biggest strength of Cleo's character.
Pô, isso é a história da
There's
Furina, acabei
actually
de me
something
ligar.
else that bothers me.
Tipo,
You know the protagonist is supposed to represent the director, right? And she never had the chance to become a hero in our world.
ah, pô, pelo
If
amor
we're
de
serious
Deus.
about dedicating this show to her memory, we should make the ending as true to life as possible.
Que isso, cara?
What about if the little Oceanid is hounded to death by people who hate her, her lover makes sure her secret never gets out, and humanity continues down the path to extinction?
Que é isso?
That sounds like too cruel of an ending to me.
Eita.
And perhaps a little irresponsible to present to the audience.
É, então,
That
galera.
ending would be a perfect mirror to Director Aureli's death, both arbitrary and meaningless. On the day when she went missing, Director Aureli had instructed us all, somewhat out of the blue, to leave the court of Fontaine and wait for her outside the city. We waited and waited at the rendezvous point, but she never came. By the time we returned to the city, she disappeared.
Ó, vou te
without a
falar que
trace.
esse que horror que tu mandou
We
um tempo
looked for her.
atrás,
The
servia pra
guardians
agora,
looked
hein,
for her,
Ligs?
but
Lig,
she was
lig.
nowhere to be found. Increasingly, all the signs seemed to point to her being the latest victim in the serial disappearances case.
The director was the
Ele
kindest
está
soul in the
aí,
world.
o melhor de todos.
Yet she was
Você
senselessly
tentou sabotar minha
sacrificed for
live,
the
hein?
sake of a so-called experiment by someone who had nothing to do with her at all.
But doesn't the way she suddenly told you to leave the city suggest that maybe she had some sense of what was about to happen? It almost seems as if she was moving you to safety.
I've been trying to follow up on that ever since, but all my efforts so far have turned up nothing.
Bios.
Vilmon might know
O
something, but he
maior
won't
de
open up to me.
todos.
Vilmon? The one who's playing
Eu
the role of the
não.
villain?
Yeah. He's been
Calma aí,
overwhelmed
deixa
by
eu mandar
grief.
esse aqui.
I think the director's death hit him hardest of all.
Grief? Guilt, more like. Also, I have a hard time imagining that anyone
Conseguiu
took it
mandar?
harder than
Conseguiu
me.
mandar.
Because, well, speaking of the play being true to life, I was deeply, madly in love with O'Reilly.
Eita!
What? You kept that one quiet.
Eita,
It's time to be
pega.
upfront with you all. No more keeping secrets from each other. We'll never be able to agree on the ending if we can't be honest about how we feel. I did tell her how I felt once, but she turned me down pretty much straight away. She said that we were all like brothers and sisters to her, and she never considered us as potential romantic partners.
Meu Deus!
Not that it came as a shock or anything. It was what I was expecting to hear. So I told her I'd always be there for the troupe, and I'd always be there for her. I said, maybe one day in the future, when everyone's settled into their own lives and on the up and up, and managing the troupe no longer required her constant attention, well, maybe then she could reconsider what she really wanted in her life. And now, that day will never come.
Não, revelações, velho. Caraca.
Hollow.
So if I'm the one writing this ending, then I'm gonna make sure it does right by O'Reilly. I won't let anyone get in the way of that.
Eita, mas aí...
In that case, you have to straighten things out with Vilmont once and for all, face to face. We've all
então,
had
por
our
que que eles não
differences of
fizeram isso
opinion
ainda?
over the ending, but those two have never seen eye to eye on anything. One of them has to compromise if we're ever going to reach a final decision.
Well, if that's where we're at, looks like it's time to go visit Vilmont.
Are you ready to face the truth?
Honestly, I'm slightly terrified. But for the sake of our final performance, I'll do whatever it takes. Funny you should ask, though. You really do get what I'm going through right now.
I certainly do. Come on, everyone. Allons-y!
Alonzi. Que isso, cara? Onde a gente vai? Tá rolando uma música clássica. Cara, as músicas de Fontaine são excepcionalmente muito boas. Tipo, todas as músicas de Genshin Impact são legais. A de Fontaine é da hora. Muito, muito, muito. Espero que você esteja falando da de Fontaine. Bisa, numa escala de 0 a... Quanto você tá entendendo da missão? Isso era o emoji, tá? Não era 0. Não consegui live. Eu tenho que... Cara, eu fui baixar Voldemort. Como assim Voldemort? É o nome do homem? Não entendi. É o Vilmont? Ah, faz sentido.
This is tough going. Delphi, are you sure you can manage in your condition?
I could ask you the
Que
same
foi, meu
question.
Deus? Ah, tá,
Try to
0.
keep up.
Ih, estão lançando 100 aí, hein? Ah, não! Apertei o botão errado. Não era pra subir aqui. Pera aí, eu vou parar de fazer as coisas com uma mão. Calma. Inclusive, Bills, estamos em 1 hora, 14 minutos e 2 segundos. Marca depois, quando o vídeo acabar, vou te mandar o link. De 1 hora e 14 minutos da live. Quero que isso seja mostrado pessoalmente. Eu queria mandar um grande salve para o Jimmy, o grande Human Sans, porque a última live de Beery Night que ele protagonizou junto a mim e Cavalo Pocoto foi a melhor live que eu já fiz em muito tempo. Nunca me diverti tanto fazendo uma live, hein? Já guarda essa daí que será dita. 1h14.
Ugh, as if this journey wasn't tough enough already without a roadblock.
Don't worry. We should all be fine with the traveler here. We don't need to take a detour. Wait, why are you all looking at me? You're not seriously expecting me to fight, are you?
We're just curious, that's all. I don't think anyone's ever seen Furina in a fight before.
Yeah, but
Então, ela não
don't
tem
you remember why?
visão.
The Hydro Archon willingly gave up all her power so it could be converted into indemnitium. Miss Furina said so herself.
Peraí.
Seriously. And I'm not even the Hydro Archon anymore, so all my power is gone
Eles
anyway.
não sabem que ela nunca foi? Tipo, porra, quem são essas pessoas, velho? Que é isso? Tem uma tesourinha. Não sei onde clipa. Ah, tá. Pera aí. Tem uma tesourinha. Tem um lugar chamado clip. Eu não sei se você tá vendo pelos celulares ou pelo computer, mas pelo computer é. Pelos celulares também. Porque se a Lívia tá vendo, eu imagino que eu esteja no celular. Porém, pera aí, tinha alguma coisa. Ah, eu tinha que responder sobre o roxinho, Live. Eu ia baixar o programa que faz. No caso não era o programa, era o plugin do OBS para poder botar. Tipo, fazer os dois ao mesmo tempo. Só que ele não quis que eu mudasse o diretório da instalação. E eu nunca instalo nada no mesmo lugar onde está meu processador. Meu sistema operacional, quer dizer. E aí eu desisti. Falei, não quer que eu troque? Então não vou baixar. Aí eu ainda tô tentando descobrir. Daqui a pouco novidades em breve, hein, galera? Novidades em breve.
As much as it pains me, unfortunately, I should just stay put. I'm more like a damsel in distress more than anything.
That
Eu
sounded
fiz um
so
negócio aqui, hein?
smug. Ugh, secondhand embarrassment is unbearable.
C'est la vie.
C'est la vie indeed.
C'est la vie.
Alas, I am forced to watch on helplessly as a more brave and seasoned adventurer than I swoops in to save the day.
Aw, too bad. I was so pumped to feast my eyes on
Foi
fight mode
censurado,
Furina.
tadinho.
Sorry to leave all the heavy lifting to you.
Don't worry, piece of cake.
Tá, temos um grande problema. Porque o grande problema é o seguinte. Você, amigo, é de Cryo. E todos os meus personagens são de Cryo. Pô, sabe qual é o problema, rapazinha aí, né?
No touching.
Ai, meu pai amado. Cara, eu não tenho nem... Mano, quer saber? Gente, vamos ter que ouvir o pessoal tagarelando de novo. Porque... não vai dar. Acabei do aqui, cadê?
I trust you.
Porra, eles me jogaram direto na porrada, mano. Eu tava literalmente com um time full cryo. Eles acabaram de fazer a maior sacanagem do mundo comigo. Porra. Pode dar de brinco. Ah, beleza. Pelo menos a gente não vai ouvir o pessoal tagarelando. É só passar a faca no slime de cryo. Vem. Ai, ai, ai. Muito dano, muito dano. Oh. Vem. Porra, tem mais, velho. Vem. Quero ver se vai dar bom pra vocês. Eu tenho a Beidou mais forte do mundo e eu não aceito outra opinião.
Bravo! Good show! You certainly live up to your reputation.
I certainly live up to my reputation.
I
Você
want
está
to help.
correto. Tá, cadê todo mundo?
Yeah, thank
cima.
you. Anyway, the path is cleared now, so onwards and upwards.
Imagina a cara da Furina. Ó, eu vou avisar pra vocês. 25% de chance de eu chorar quando a Furina ganhar a visão dela. Porque ela vai ficar muito...
Vilma, are you there?
surpresa.
Oh, it's you guys. Wait, what's Lady Furina doing here?
E eu não sei nem como ela vai ganhar a visão dela, porque não existe mais Archon de Hydro.
I can explain. We've been rounding up the whole troop. We now have everyone except you.
Encontramos o Voldemort
You
em
think knowing the
The
truth
Drill.
about the director's disappearance will help you write an ending to the script that pleases everyone? I care just as much as everyone else about making the Little Oceanid a success. That's why I wanted to wait until after the show. If I open this can of worms now, I just don't want to make things difficult between us. We're supposed to be a unit when we're on stage.
Vilma, avoiding the truth will not help anyone. Unless you mean to suggest that Aurelie's death had something to do with you.
I don't want to
Epa!
talk about it.
Epa!
Listen, Vilma. I used to think that my love for Aurelie was a point of shame. I never brought it up to anyone. But now, I've made up my mind to put it all on the table. I'm prepared to face everything, to sacrifice everything for the sake of the show. The Little Oceanid cannot be complete unless we do justice to Aurelie on an emotional level.
This is why people think of you as not being the smart one. As you all know already, the troupe was kept afloat not from ticket sales, but donations from the audience. Of course, that was nowhere near enough. We took on side jobs when we weren't performing, but even then, the troupe's financial situation was pretty dire. So, anyway, one day after a show, a merchant came to me and offered us a huge sponsorship. In return, we just had to provide the audience with their drinks during performances. It seemed like a win-win, so I said yes to it on the spot without consulting the director. It was only when the merchant came to deliver the goods that I realized the drink in question was synth.
Isn't that the drink peddled by the culprit behind the serial disappearances case?
Eita, isso complica, hein?
I freaked out when I saw the boxes. And I told the director everything right away. She was completely shocked as well. But she didn't reprimand me for making the decision without consulting her. Instead, she contacted the merchant and stated that the troupe could not agree to this collaboration. The merchant was furious, berated us for going back on our word, and threatened to sue us for damages. The amount was astronomical. There was no way we'd be able to pay.
And then?
I was going to sort it on my own, but the director stopped me. She said that this was an issue for the whole troupe, and it wasn't my fault. But things only got worse from there. The synth merchant just wouldn't let up, and then suddenly the director told us all to leave the city one day. I knew then that things must have reached a boiling point. I admit this whole thing was my mistake. I didn't dare to tell any of you the truth back then, and after the director disappeared, I was even more afraid to say anything.
Meu Deus.
Yeah, I got Aurelie killed. There, I said it. Happy now?
Eita.
Hey, don't say that.
You traitor! You knew Aurelie was in danger. Why in God's name didn't you tell us? What do you mean you were afraid? This was a life and death situation. We could have saved her. How could you be so stupid?
Aí deu problema. Cadê
Please,
o rapaziada?
try not to get too worked up.
Yeah, listen to him. You need to stay calm.
Stay calm? How can I stay calm? This guy got Aurelie murdered. She was the love of my life. And he has the gall to try and high-road us, claiming that he kept his mouth shut for the sake of the show. How about taking some responsibility for what he's done?
All I can say is I'm sorry. Truly. I wanted to apologize to everyone in the troupe, but that won't bring back the director. What good is my apology now? I'm just a coward who made an awful, terrible mistake that I can never take back. Beat me up if you want. Kill me if you prefer. It's what I deserve. End my
Ai,
life.
meu Deus.
So I can meet the director and apologize to her in person.
Get out of my sight. Go, get lost. I don't ever want to see your face again.
That's enough! You
Bota,
screamed and shouted at each other for long
bota
enough.
ordem na casa,
Now
Furina.
pipe down, both of you! Can you stop conflating the show on stage with your real-life relationships in the troupe? You keep saying that you want to use this final performance to pay tribute to your director and celebrate her life. How can you do that if you're just using it as an excuse to vent your own emotions?
You're right.
Isso. Bota ordem,
sorry.
por favor.
On stage, the lead role is the focal point of the audience's attention. And you're all used to seeing the director as the heart of the troupe. But in her own life, her greatest desire wasn't to be the center of attention. I can tell how much she loved you all, and how much she loved the troupe. What she wanted was to build a warm home for all of her brothers and sisters. To shield you all from the storms that
A
rage
Furina
in the world
máxima,
outside.
né? Isso.
That's how you should remember her. And that's what you should be celebrating. I understand why you're trying to make her the hero of the story, but isn't she your hero already? After everything she did for you?
Yeah.
So think hard about what that means. And then think again about what you hope to achieve by arguing with each other. If you really hate each other and can't reconcile your differences, then you could just call it quits now. Why bother with the final performance if the group is already fractured? But you can't bring yourself to do that, can you? You care too much about Director Aurelie and the home she built you all to let go. What are you laughing at? I don't see what's so funny.
Sorry, I didn't mean it that way. It's just that, for a moment there, it felt like our director was back with us again. If she'd seen Paulo and Vilmont at each other's throats like that, she would have scolded them exactly like you did, in that same stern voice.
Really? But she sounded like such a gentle person.
Of course she was. Even her harshest lectures came from a place of kindness, and it showed. She really was a truly outstanding person.
What you said, it really puts everything into perspective.
Bilza, se você ainda estiver aí, olha o WhatsApp.
Sorry. I really meant for this to be a genuine apology, but I ended up making it all about me and my self-pity.
It's all right. Let's save all this for after the performance.
So,
Vamos voltar a se matar depois,
what are we
galera.
gonna do about it?
Clearly, everyone needs to take a step back for now and reflect on what really matters. When emotions are running high, things get lost in the fray. The end of the story needs to focus back on Aurelie herself. She's the true star of the show.
A gente volta pra porrada logo depois.
What do you mean?
The Traveler is right. You once investigated that underwater synth base and recovered items belonging to the victims. If you could find anything that Aurelie left behind, perhaps we can get a better sense of what she went through in her final days.
You really think that's possible?
I trust that nobody would object to the ending of the story being based on Aurelie's true feelings.
No.
Well, we'll leave this in your capable hands.
Come, let's pay a visit to the Palais Mermonia. The rest of you, head back to the rehearsal location for now, and wait for our good news.
Rapaz. Ah, a missão tá boazinha. Eu achei que ia ser conversinha o tempo inteiro, mas estamos de boa. Qual é, na moral? Vou dar uma ultada aqui com a Charlotte só pra eu dar uma rilada, que essa ganhou tá me dando nos nervos. Pronto. Aí uma ult pra vocês, rapaziada. Pronto. Passamos uma live ultando. Não foi só conversinha. Ué, por que... Pera aí. Por que as coisas dela vão estar no Palame Harmonia? Eu não prestei tanta atenção nisso. Vamos. Nossa, já tem missãozinha daqui de dentro. Ah, não. Sininho não, velho. Sininho de novo não,
Some
velho.
recovered items connected to victims of the serial disappearances case, but that case has been closed for quite a while now. Still, since you were the ones who discovered and submitted the evidence in the first place, you don't actually have to submit an application. Okay, please hold on. I'll have someone dig them out.
Não, eu fico incomodado mesmo. É que eu não necessariamente queria gastar a ult da Charlotte pra isso.
This is all O'Reilly left behind. Just whatever she was carrying on her person and this tattered old notebook.
Hey! It's full of script lines! And sketches too! Looks like they show where the different props should be placed on stage.
Let me take a look. Maybe there's something in here from after she was kidnapped. Aha! I found something. To whoever discovers this diary. Let's see. Looks like she kept a detailed record of her captor's actions. She even mentions the
Papo reto,
truth
podia
behind
ser
the
a Cisne
experiments and
mesmo.
dissolving young women. If we'd had the chance to examine this notebook carefully back then, it would have been a conclusive piece of evidence proving Vacher's guilt.
Pera aí, como é que é?
Vacher took so many lives. It's still so unthinkable how many victims he had.
Eita. Caraca.
I guess O'Reilly must
E
have
lá
written all of this
descobrir,
down in the
poderiam
hope
ter
that her
descoberto.
records would one day be of use to investigators. Wait, it cuts off. Her handwriting here gets patchier and more illegible by the line. She probably didn't have much strength left. Her final words are... I'll let you read them for yourselves.
Eita. Eu achei que essa era a coisa. Meu Deus. Meu Deus. Cruz credo. Basicamente ela falou pra todo mundo que queria que todo mundo da Troop... É Troop que fala? Troop fosse salvo. Ah,
She
pera!
was so terrified.
Eles são o Golden Troop? Agora que eu parei pra prestar atenção.
She may have been a mighty hero in the eyes of her troop, but at the end of the day, she was only human. I can't bear to think how painful and lonely her final days must have been. Wait. This part on the last page sounds strangely familiar.
Opa, opa, isso aqui é familiar,
If
né,
you become
Furina?
human, you can reveal your secret to no one. You will face suffering and loneliness. Is this still what you want?
Isn't that the most important line in the Little Oceanid?
Because I am an older sister to them.
Oh.
So she didn't regret her decision. Even as she sat in silence, waiting for death to come. I'm sure this is what the troupe would have hoped to hear as well. She had their utmost trust, admiration, and love. And she truly deserved it.
Eita.
Let's go. It's time for them to learn Director O'Reilly's final thoughts.
Então, tivemos um momento muito do sad aqui, que a gente leu o diário da moça que foi passada. No final ela falou uma frase importante e... Só que, pô, foi triste. Essas missões estão dando uma pesada do clima. Vou ter que tacar outra figurinha aqui, tá ligado? Que caracas. Essa daí foi pesada mesmo. Cara, eu fico tentando entender o que é isso aqui do nosso lado. Parece que é um... Mano, um lugar pra, porra, sei lá, sair o Aquabuzz. Eu não entendo aqui. Pra sair o Star Rail. Hora de contar pra geral. Quais foram os últimos dias da moça. Eita, o comentário não saiu, vixe. Então, bateu a bet pesada aqui, velho. Realmente, bateu mesmo. Vou
She
nem
deserves
brincar.
a hero's farewell. If that's the only way to convey to the audience the courage and selflessness that she showed in the face of death, then it's a meaningful way to end the story.
Even in the last moments of her life, she was still leaving a trail for others to follow.
She did her best to protect as many people as possible, even if it meant sacrificing herself.
Pô,
I know
essa...
what choice
Gente,
our little Oceanid would have made now. I don't think any more discussion is necessary.
então, tipo... essa história da Furina, caramba. Como que a Furina não clicou isso ainda?
Do you think you can bring yourself to go ahead with the show?
I will channel all my regret and put it into my performance, to make this a show worthy of our director. I won't ask for your forgiveness, and you don't need to worry about my feelings. This final farewell show should be about Director O'Reilly and her alone.
Then it seems like we've reached a consensus. I have a feeling that this will turn out to be the most mesmerizing performance of your lives.
Really? How can you be so sure when you've never even seen them perform before?
What the...
Don't underestimate my experience. After watching a countless number of musicals,
Eu não sei se
I
fui só
learned
eu.
one important thing.
Mas a Paimon falou, perform before. Eu entendi before. Só que, tipo, eu li o final da frase before, eu falei, ué, deu ruim? Ela falou before, aí depois eu vi, foi perform before. Ótima escolha de palavras ali.
Audience with your music, you must fully commit and immerse yourself in your role, pouring all your emotion into your performance. And aren't human emotions love, hate, regret, and hope just the most mesmerizing things in this world? I don't believe anybody could be more committed to bringing this story to life on the stage than they are now.
Thank you for the vote of confidence, Miss Furina. And thank you for supporting us through all this.
Then, let's not delay things any longer. We need to discuss the details of the ending and get it nailed down once and for all.
Actually, before that, I'd like to make a proposal. During the curtain call, please allow me to use the director's name instead of my own.
Huh? But then...
After all, this role was originally meant to be played by the director, I'm just filling in for her. Besides, a role
Tava
commemorating her
prestando muita
life
atenção,
should be
pô.
associated with her name.
Well, if you're sure you're okay with that, I have no objection to it.
Now we're talking like a serious acting troupe. All right, I'll leave you to fine-tune your musical while I go and procure a stage.
Procure a stage?
Oh, it's okay. Our usual place doesn't need a reservation.
Ela vai conseguir a ópera Epiclese pra
That
eles?
place?
Mentira.
Oh, don't be silly. For an extraordinary show, we need an extraordinary
Ooh.
stage. By which I, of course, mean the Opera Epiclese.
Whoa, wait, what?
No. That's never going to work. It's far too fancy for the likes of us.
What are you afraid of? Surely you don't...
To be your grand finale, right?
Go big or go home. É exatamente, Ether.
I have no problem with it then. How about the rest of you? I'll take your silence as a yes. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. It really is a dream come true.
I'll take your silence as a yes. Foi bem professora do EAD agora.
Well, don't disappoint me. If you mess this up, it'll reflect poorly on me too. Come on, we'll need to get the go-ahead from Nervilette. I know just where to find him.
Ok. Putz, vamos achar o Nuvilete. O brabo. O brabo apenas. Apenas. Everybody gangsta to Nuvilete. Vamos ter que subir pra caramba. Nossa, mas a gente tem que andar que nem um... Meu Deus. Papo reto. Ué. Mano, onde que tá esse homem? Voltou à internet, voltei pro PC. Oba. Oeba.
Hey, look at that. Looks like I guessed right.
Pera, ela avisou que ele ia estar por aqui? Eu não... You were just guessing. Pelo amor de Deus, Paimon. Silêncio. Silêncio, Paimon. Os adultos estão conversando.
Here.
I'm here merely for a short break. It has been a while, Miss Furina. And you too, traveler in Paimon. What might I assist you with today?
I would like to book the Opera Epiclese for an event. You see...
Cara, eu vou fazer uma...
I understand. The process for booking the Opera Epiclese is complex and can be somewhat cumbersome. But given that the request is coming from the three of you, I see no reason to make things unduly difficult.
Então, eu sou outro namorado aí, exatamente. Olha só, eu deixo você ficar com o Nuvilete, porque o meu preferido é o Risley. Não tem como, sem discussão. Porra, o que eu ia falar? Pera aí. Fontaine... Ah, sei lá, vamos continuar. Esqueci, deve ser mentira.
I'm looking forward to seeing it performed on stage. I will say, however, that I am surprised to see your passion for the performing arts rekindled after all that has happened.
Huh? What do you mean? Do I look excited?
Yes. And this is the first time that I've seen you like this since your departure from deityhood.
At first, I just felt bad about rejecting them. So I wanted to learn a little bit more about their situation. But one thing led to another, and... well, here we are. In the past, we sat in our high chairs in the court, giving our opinions on isolated cases, all while knowing very little about the human stories behind each and every one. Maybe it's because I finally become an ordinary person and gained my freedom. But I've developed a great sense
Eu
of
caio na mão
curiosity
contigo
about
pelo
the
Risley, não tem jeito. Ah, então vai ter que rolar esse X1, hein?
Now that you've regained some confidence, have you had any thoughts regarding a return to the stage?
Why would you suddenly ask a question like that?
Well, if the Little Oceanid turns out to be a great success, it will no doubt become a classic. Many theater companies are certain to add it to their repertoire. The experiences and decisions of the protagonist, Cleo, are all modeled after your own. Naturally, this makes you eminently suited to playing the leading role. It would truly be a shame if you did not take this opportunity to allow audiences to enjoy your outstanding acting talents once more.
Haven't I already made myself clear? I won't act or perform in any role ever again. No exceptions. Nor do I think it is any great shame. There is no lack of fine actors or inspirational stories, either on or off the stage. This experience is a case in point. I feel like I've learned a lot, and it has already been well worth the price of admission. I must admit, though, I'm a little envious. They're quite fortunate to be able to bid farewell to their past in such a magnificent manner.
I see. Well, I'm glad to learn that you have found a role to play that you enjoy, be it on the stage or not. I sincerely hope the show will serve as the grandest of finales. I will have my staff book the date and mail the relevant paperwork to the troupe once the details are confirmed.
Thanks, Nervalette.
You are very welcome.
Cara, foi impressão minha ou a Paimon falou Nervalette pausado? Tenho quase certeza que ela falou esquisito. Eu vou tipo, Nervalette. Duvido que eu ganharia no X contigo, mas bora. Ah, calma lá. Quem você acha que ganha? Um vampiro do século XV, destruidor de vidas, ou um padrinho mágico? Você me diz aí. Que homem, senhoras e senhores, que homem. Até a Paimon ficou sem arte, viu?
Good news, everyone. It's done. The opera epiclese is booked. Thanks to my eloquent and impassioned speech, Monsieur Nervalette was moved to provide us with a fitting stage for this special performance. We've had to fight.
Eu achei que tinha
every
travado
step
também,
of the way
mas
for this
ficou
opportunity.
estranho.
But we now have all of the ingredients necessary to stage a truly spectacular performance. A touching story, a magnificent venue, and last but not least, a passionate and dedicated cast. Now,
O padrinho
let's
mágico
work
brabo,
together
tá?
and make this show the best it can be.
Padrinho
This
mágico é
is
brabo,
truly
aham.
wonderful.
The sooner we can finalize the ending, the more time we'll have to rehearse. Fiamma and I just went over some parts of the script and tweaked a few things. I think it's really going to resonate with the audience now.
Wow, you two had a constructive conversation? That's great!
Communication is vital to any good performance.
Look at us. We've come so far. I never could have pictured this scene a few days ago.
It's amazing! Even though Furina's still being a bit of a drama queen about it all, she's really fired everyone up!
Meteu o vampiro no
Please
sol,
feel free
acabou.
to give us any comments or
Putz.
suggestions you have.
Ela
We really
sabe o que
value your
fala.
input.
Hey, Loic, get over here. Time to practice the opening number.
Ah, que bonitinho. Eu tinha que estar preparado pra pintar essas paradas aqui, ó lá. Nossa, calma aí. Meu... Eu acho que meu quarto está muito abafado.
She stole the waters of life from us. She's a fraud, and she must pay for her crimes.
This has nothing to do with her. The ignorance and hatred of our people is to blame. How can we hope to win back the water's favor if we don't change our ways?
This guy could be useful. Take him hostage. If Cleo wants him back, she'll have to show herself.
Leave this place, oh little Oceanid, and never, ever look back!
Everyone's really throwing themselves into their roles. I haven't seen such a fine performance in a long time. If only...
What should we do? It's almost time for her to take the stage.
Why does it have to be now?
Ih, vai entrar a Furina.
What's going on? You're due on stage any second now. Oh no, not again. But why? What about your new meds? Did they stop working?
They've been getting less and less effective over time. I've had to keep increasing my dose.
What? I thought they cure it. So they were only managing your symptoms?
I figured whatever it took to get me through this final performance.
How could you do this to yourself? And after that lecture you gave me about not looking after my health.
I'm sorry. I've let everyone down.
You... This is a conversation for another time. How can the show go on without its star
Vai a
performer?
Furina agora. We believe in Furina, vamos.
Miss Furina,
Estamos num
I'd like to make a
momento bom.
request of you.
Seguinte,
Say no more. If you're sick, you need to rest. I know what you're going to ask.
a mulher tava
Loic,
fingindo
your
que tava
character
tudo
has no
bem,
more
então
scenes,
ó,
correct?
tá faltando desempenho.
Oh, yeah. I think my scenes are
Não
all
foi uma
done.
decisão inteligente.
Although, I do have one more line. But I guess another guy in the troupe with a similar voice register could take it. Why?
Please take Delphi back to her
Essa
place to
figurinha é
rest.
muito idiota.
I'll sing the finale. From the sublime to the ridiculous. After all that, everything's come full circle.
Thank you, Miss Furina. I'm so sorry to put you in this position after everything you said.
Never mind. What's done is done. It's really my own fault for getting in too deep. No one likes regrets, myself included.
Pegou
Leave it to me.
desprevenido.
I've watched you rehearse so many times that I've learned Cleo's part by heart.
I do not doubt your acting
Vamos ver.
skills, but please allow me to ask just one more question. After all, this show is dedicated to the life and legacy of our director. What, in your opinion, is the reason Cleo shines so brightly?
It's her pure heart. Despite all the pain and loneliness she had to endure, she never once stopped believing in the beauty in this world.
Vou chorar, rapaziada. Essa é a
Well
Furina.
said. I leave director O'Reilly in your hands.
Tipo, essa é a real história da Furina, pra quem não viu minha live ainda. E nisso o tempo tá correndo, né, galera? Essa mereceu ó. Essa mereceu. Mereceu um pop-up. Ai, que lindo. Aqui, vou até pausar minha música pra isso. Quero escutar agora. Quero ver. Vou até sair daqui, mano. O stage é da Furina, galera. Vai, Furina, brilha.
Is she here yet?
When will she get here?
She's not coming!
You're wrong. She's here.
Si je pouvais vivre dans l'eau, le monde serait-il
Meu Deus!
plus beau? Pardonneras-tu aux chères mères? L'eau dans son courant fait danser nos vies, et la cité elle nourrit, ainsi que toi mon doux amour.
But what about your wish?
My wish.
If you become human, you can reveal your secret to no one. You will face suffering and loneliness. Is this truly what you want?
Le grand amour ne suffit pas, seul un adieu fleurira.
É assim que ela ganha a visão dela. Pô, se eu tivesse uma câmera suficiente pra isso, eu levantava pra bater palma, filho.
Is it just me? Or was that Lady Furina on the stage just now?
She hasn't been seen for a while now, and she just appears out of nowhere? Gotta say, though, her acting skills are as superb as ever.
The little Oceanid, Cleo, played by Aurélie Fumont.
Wait, that's not her name. What's going on?
I don't know. Maybe it's just a doppelganger.
I've spent a lot of time out of the spotlight, and they didn't use my name during the curtain call either. Hopefully, not too many people recognized me. It's too bad that I had to break the one clear rule I'd managed to make for myself, even if I had no choice. Still, I have to admit that, despite everything,
Por que eu tô ali? Pera aí,
it felt
por que eu tô ali?
to be back on the stage again.
Finally, we would like to give a special thanks to our artistic consultant and event coordinator, Miss Furina.
Hey, that's not what we agreed on.
Realmente, esse jogo é um absurdo.
So it was Furina after all.
Esse jogo é um absurdo. Não dá.
Honestly, what is he doing? He should have run that by me first.
All right, calm down, don't be mad. This was a group decision. We just didn't want your contributions to go unacknowledged. After all, it's been the rule in Fontaine since ancient times that everyone's work, visible or invisible, is equally deserving of recognition.
Yes, I know the rule, but it should still be applied on a case-by-case basis. I wasn't ready for this yet.
It's no big deal. What's the worst that could happen?
Oh, yeah? Well, since you think it's so easy, you can sign them for me.
This is a great chat and all, but can we talk about that crazy thing that happened during the show? It nearly gave Paimon a heart attack. Paimon flew over to where she was supposed to be and was about to drop the prop vision, and then suddenly, a real one popped out of thin air!
Ela ganhou a visão.
That... I've got no idea what happened there either. But hey, it worked pretty well.
Eu ia
didn't
falar
it?
disso agora, já
I'll
vou
bet the
falar.
audience has never seen such a realistic prop.
Wait, what about Dolphy? I wonder how she's doing.
Oh, let's go check on her as soon as we finish clearing the stage.
Yes. Plus, she'll definitely want to hear how the end of the show went. If nothing else, we can safely say that we accomplished what we set out to do.
Tipo, essa história tem que ser marcada pro resto da vida. Que imagina tipo, dentro do lore do jogo, esse show tem que ser marcado pelo resto da história de Fontaine. Imagina um show que a pessoa ganha uma visão lá. Tipo, caracas, viu? E eu ainda tô na dúvida. Quem deu essa visão pra ela? Tipo, teoricamente era pra ser o Nubilete, mas, porra, se ele queria fazer isso, já dava antes, caralho. Não faz sentido ter sido agora, mas enfim, vamos lá. Aí, fala tu, Lívia. E agora? E esse pedacinho da história, viu? Eu fui pego absurdamente no contrapé. Me deixaram no chão nessa daí, viu? Realmente. Oh, caramba. Ah, não, a gente vai ter que teleportar. 800 metros não é de Deus, não, gente. Pera aí. Desculpa a galera que fala que teleportar quebra a gameplay, mas, porra. Aí 800 metros não vai ter como, não. Ah, inclusive, deixa eu mostrar aqui pra vocês, gente. Eu consegui... Como é que é o nome? Porra. Eu consegui... reputação 10 em Fontaine. Agora eu tenho as asinhas. Eu tenho as asinhas. Muito lindas, bem em heterocromia, que nem a Furina. E pronto, tem as asinhas agora. Brabo. Não, realmente eu não tava esperando, não. Isso aí foi absurdo. Inclusive, eles estavam cheatando. A Paimon ia jogar uma visão pra Furina e a Paimon voa. Se não tivesse a Paimon, não iam fazer nada.
She's doing okay. Her condition stabilized after taking some of her original medication. From experience, though, I'd say she still needs a few more days of rest.
How did the performance go? Was it a success? Did the audience like it?
You'll be glad to know it was fantastic! Also, you're not gonna believe what happened while Furina was on the stage. You'll probably be able to read all about it in the Steambird first thing tomorrow morning.
That's wonderful. I'm so sorry I failed to see it through to the end. I guess I was wrong to try and tough it out to begin with.
No, don't worry about it. Like they told me after announcing my name during the curtain call, everyone's work deserves recognition. Even though you couldn't see it through to the final scene, the audience was very impressed by your performance. It's safe to say that you made your mark on this memorial show.
Well, one way or another, we did it. I've had bad luck ever since I was born, so I never expect things to go smoothly in life. I'm just happy to know that we went out on a high note. That's all that matters.
Blaming your bad luck again, are we? Maybe if you didn't push yourself past your limits so much, your illness wouldn't be flaring up all the time.
Oh, don't you start. I don't have the energy to argue with you right now.
Aw, you two clearly care a lot about each other.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We never stop arguing with each other.
E mais um casalzinho em Fontaine, viu? Ah, tô sabendo da história de vocês, não, hein?
So, any plans for the next step? After the brilliant performance you put on, the reputation of your troupe is sure to spread through Fontaine like wildfire. You won't have to disband if you don't want to. You could capitalize on the rave reviews and license out the Little Oceanid to the bigger theater troupes out there. That would do wonders for your financial situation.
No,
Tias do quarto
we should
ano.
still
Vai dar
disband.
namoro.
Yeah, it's what we all agreed to.
After all that's happened, I should give you guys some space. But maybe our paths will cross again one day.
Ah, viu, mano? Que isso? Vai não, vai não. Alguém chama ele. Ih, ninguém vai chamar ele. Ah, é isso, pessoal.
I still want to keep performing, so I might join another troupe. After watching Miss Furina's performance, I think I'm starting to understand our director's infatuation with musicals.
You should do it. It suits you. I'd originally hoped to keep performing too, but I don't know if my health will allow me to.
Oh, so now you finally got your priorities in order. I guess I'll hold off until you've properly recovered as well. What about you, Miss Furina? Any future plans?
Ih, a
Well,
pergunta.
frankly, I think a return to obscurity is no longer an option for me. I'm sure a slew of consultancy requests will hound me wherever I go, until I finally acquiesce. You rather sealed my fate there with your special thanks at the end of the show.
Sorry.
It's quite all right. No need to apologize. What I meant to say is that this whole experience has shown me that perhaps I'm not as averse to a return to the stage as I'd previously imagined. Maybe Nervilette was right. Maybe Cleo is the right role for me.
Cara, eu não sei como ela não tinha percebido isso antes ainda.
But I do have a desire to express myself. So, maybe the show will go on for me after all. Yeah. There was once a time when I was an actress in a masquerade, seeking only to hide the truth. But from now on, I want to spend my time learning real stories about real people and how they touch the lives of others around them. I want to watch them blossom and wither, see them refined on the page, retold on the stage, and remembered long into the future. I'm sure this is what captivated director O'Reilly as well.
Sounds like you're ready to stop running from your true calling. The more you get out into the world, the more you'll discover what a fascinating place it is.
Then it's a deal. If a vision is a gift from the gods,
Não,
then
pera
I
aí.
should do my best to honor
Como
it.
assim? Ela falou aí for visions of wish. Como é que é? Gift from the gods. Quem deu essa visão pra ela, cara? Ah, não. Eles não acabaram a missão assim, mano. Porra, Furina.
It's ironic to think that in my whole time as a god, I could only ever dream of receiving this kind of power. And now that the gods have given me their blessing, it actually feels more like I'm finally able to take my fate in my own hands. Is that how
Mano.
humans feel about it as well?
Ah, gente. Como assim, velho? Oh, eu vou precisar muito de uma explicação para isso. Ela falou que os deuses abençoaram ela. Os deuses quem? Não tem mais Hydro de... Quer dizer, Archon de Hydro, velho. Exato! Aí, não é possível. Não é possível. Não, tipo, não é que vai acabar assim. A questão é, tipo... Quem que deu isso aí, cara? Porra, não faz o menor sentido. Gente, eu vou fechar essa live por aqui. Mano, missãozinha muito boa. Me surpreendeu, foi missão bem conversinha, mas, pô, me surpreendeu a parte da óperazinha em francês. Eu não gosto de francês, tenho raiva da língua, porém, pra Furina eu dou uma passada de pano, ó. Ó, tô passando pano. Então, gente, muito obrigado a todo mundo que assistiu. Hora dos salves. Vou dar um grandíssimo salve pra Lívia. Foi a first da live, apareceu aqui em tempo recorde. Apareceu aqui quando a live crashou ainda. Live crashou, ela já tava aqui. E um grande salve pro Bilza Minecraft, o cara mais brabo de todos, que brotou aqui também, fez uma participaçãozinha. Muito obrigado por ter aparecido nessa live, rapaziada. E... Eita, eu dei zoom na ganhou. Eu dei um zoom na ganhou, não sei porquê. Então é isso, gente. Muito obrigado por vocês terem aparecido aqui. Tamo juntíssimo e... Tô que nem o gif do pica-pau. Ai, falar em GIF, ó. Tá faltando desempenho, ó. Não, inclusive, não explicaram de quem que ela ganhou, de quem que ganhou a visão, então tá faltando desempenho, galera. Tá faltando desempenho. É isso, gente. Tchauzinho. Tô indo. Valeu. Não aguentou sua presença, é verdade, Lívia.